think it's like satire, like because it obviously it's made by Wes Craven. So and he had been making horror since the 70s, so 70s, 80s, and then the 90s. So it's almost like he's kind of having fun with it and making fun of the genre, like a little bit of satire.
Yeah. It definitely has like the sort of real scary movie feel, but it definitely also feels there's just some funny parts to me
Hmm.
that maybe weren't necessarily supposed to be funny, or maybe they are, but it could just be because it's a 90s movie, and I mean, I love 90s movies because they're so
Yeah,
90s,
yeah.
but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like he is having fun with it. Um, I've always thought of Scream as more satire than, even though I've never seen it, so I couldn't really say, but more satire than actual just true. This is true horror genre.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's definitely scary. Like
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
the part where Sydney goes out and he's like, "I'm on your porch," and she's like, "I'm gonna call your bluff," and then she goes back inside, and then he pops out of like, what was it, a closet? And
Yeah.
then he's like already in the house, and I'm just like, how did
My
he get in the
gosh.
house? Like
Yeah. Yeah,
On
it's
the flip
definitely
side, I think the
scary.
horror is like more scary, like when it does have those moments because it is
Yeah, that's true.
not taking itself too seriously and it's based on people, like real people doing a bad thing as opposed to like some supernatural entity or a monster like
yeah,
Jason and Freddy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
true. I feel like if there's moments where you can sort of release in some way, even if it's like just a quick laugh, that
mhm,
brings the fear down, only to bring it right back up by
mhm.
something else immediately after Yeah.
It's kind of a unique film because yeah, you find yourself like laughing because you have like the comical deputy with his amazing mustache.
Yeah.
And obviously he's like the comic relief, he like picks up the phone, he's like, "Hello?"
Hello?
Um, but yeah, I can't because like Halloween, Friday the 13th, I mean, they don't really have that comedic element. So it's
Mm-mm.
unique in that sense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, they definitely don't. There's almost no so well, okay, so I don't think I've never seen all of Friday the 13th, but with Halloween at least, it's a slow build, but there is none of that sort of relief or that release, I guess, to
Mm.
yeah,
I wonder if
there's
this
definitely
kind
no
of
comedy.
set that standard for, not standard because not all horror movies afterwards were like that, but I can't think of a lot of horror movies that have that comedic element. And I feel
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
Scream was probably the beginning of that. And I think it benefited the genre
Yeah,
in general because having the movie be just a nonstop gore fest, kind of like we spoke about last time, or never having light moments, that's not
Hmm.
reality, and it's more horrific if it reflects reality. I think, like, or is horror in a specific uh, way when it does reflect reality. Like when they get hits in on whoever this murderer is, like that makes it
Yeah.
super real. People struggle.
Yeah.
Fighting's not
right.
easy. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like it's exhausting actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like and then also I like the element of they're obviously they want you to try to guess who the killer is. Like, I guess Billy when he comes in and he drops the phone and you're like, "Oh, it's him. Oh, I figured it out." But then, he's making the call. So it can't be him. Like, so I like that because it's kind of mixing a bunch of different genres. You have like mystery, comedy,
Yeah.
suspense, horror, and then it's putting it all together, which is interesting because I can't really think of like another film that does that. Hmm.
I mean, I feel like a lot of horror by default has some amount of mystery wrapped up in it
Hmm.
because um it's why is this, even if it's more realistic and not some supernatural thing, or even if it is some supernatural thing, like why is this happening basically, and why are these people put in these, why are these people in these situations that are so scary? So even if it's not like a true mystery, there is some element, but there isn't always comedy. So
that's true. The girl from The Ring, how did she get in the well?
Right. There's her whole backstory. Yeah. It's a little bit of a mystery until like obviously it's revealed. It's not like it's left open-ended, but
right.
Man, that one's creepy too. And also has a phone that rings. Wait, does it? Doesn't it?
I think phones have this like inherent scariness, especially like back in the day. Was that like
because you didn't know who
you expect to know who it is, or to at least be able to guess, and then that like anonymousness definitely kind of adds to that terror.
Yeah. I honestly think that is part of the reason why I hate answering the phone when it's like even now when and I don't mean like because of horror movies necessarily, but just growing up and before we ever even had caller ID, it was just like you don't know who it was going to be. It could be anybody.
Oh, interesting.
And even now, even when I like know who's calling, I was like, I don't want to answer the phone.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, I hate answering the phone. If I can like not answer the phone, I will.
Same. Mine stems from when I was doing all my crazy stuff, like people calling me was always bad news. It was like finding out I had a warrant out for me, or like various other terrible things. So
my goodness.
That made me very much
that makes
dislike
sense.
the phone.
I like how he turned the phone ringing into a jump scare, which I wasn't expecting.
Oh yeah, I was.
Because then you're just like, oh,
especially because it's so loud and jarring too. If only because of that, and you're not expecting it. So yeah.
Yep. He definitely
the chair through the window got me too. I was like,
oh yeah, that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that. That definitely made me jump. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And to me, the scene that stood out the most is Drew Barrymore is dying, and then she sees her mom, and she tries to call out.
Oh yeah, but
that
she
was
can't.
Good.
Like, Mom!
Yeah, because I think he had like stabbed her in the throat.
Yeah, he definitely got like a lung at the very least.
Or maybe it was a lung. Yeah, so she can't really like talk or take in a breath very well.
She's right there. I was just
like, that was good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very good.
Excellent movie. All right. Well, everyone's hungry. So does anyone have any closing thoughts?
Being a serial killer is all about timing.
Yeah. Don't answer the phone.
Get caller ID. All right. All right.
That too.
See ya.
Bye, friends. Make a choice.
Bye, subscribers. See ya.